T7 realm lot. I wish you could skip the first animation. It's kind of annoying. That's first phase. That's second phase. And that's the boss fight. I'm gonna briefly run through this build. Some of the slight updates I've made, what are the plans for the future, and generally what I want to push this build to before I'm done with this game. So let's show you the damage right now.
Please select the calibration intensity for invincibility.
As you can see, the average damage is generally around 99 or 95, around there. I don't briefly run through a bit of the upgrades I've made, some of the changes to the talents, some of the changes to the skills, and a bit of the design philosophy of the build as it moves forward in the scaling endgame. So, as per my previous videos, most of the build has been focused primarily on DPS, and that's what you kind of want to do when you first run into T7s and try to do T7 maps fast. Damage is the only thing you're concerned about because mobs on maps don't really do a lot of damage, and you can get away with like 40k EHP and like almost no recovery, just relying on like potions and all that to recover. But as you push to do T7 bosses deathless, and you want to push to do T8 as well, you can do T7 bosses deathless definitely with good mechanics and very high DPS. But to do T8 maps and bosses, you kind of need to up, your character quite a bit, quite significantly. So I'm gonna briefly run through some mechanics I'm working on, or push towards, and what it does for making my character a lot more tanky and a lot more survivable. So if anything, the next video I will be uploading when I get to it, probably when I hit level 97, is the T8 boss, all the T8 bosses. Yeah, I've already done all the T8 plain bosses. So the plain bosses are like the end of all your maps when you do 8 of them. So that would be this. I did all the T8 variants of this. It was pretty okay. It wasn't deathless. That was also when this build wasn't fully defined yet. And I tried to do a realm lord as well at that time, and I got maybe like I got it down to 30%, and then I died. I ran out of portals. I've actually improved the build already. I think I can do a realm lord. Right now, I just want it to be perfect. So I'm still gonna keep improving this until I hit 97, and that's when I start doing those bosses, and then doing a showcase. So here are the upgrades I've done. I've changed a lot of how this setup works. Infinity, it's still there. Same, you're still using versatility to scale. I've actually changed gloves to Ardor. Okay, the reason why I'm using Ardor is because you don't need the double corruption per se. You just need this as a corroded mod. So you want double life regain and minus 20% additional life regain interval. So the reason why you're going for this gives you an insane amount of recovery, and it gives you an insane amount of recovery with um, bloodthirst recovery, and I'll show you later. Yeah. So as you can tell, if you look at my EHP, I've almost tripled my EHP, 150k EHP with 1.3 mil TPS. So everything has gone up pretty significantly. Chest armor is still the same cheap as chest armor. This is still 1 FE. But a lot of the rolls on my gear have been, I wouldn't say perfect, but close to being perfect. So max life is kind of what you want on your prefixes, and you want AoE or elemental damage. You always want dex and resistances on your suffixes. For amulet, you definitely want 8% dexterity amulet, and also same thing, dex and res and suffixes. Prefixes, you want like erosion skill level is good because your spiral strike is an erosion skill, so you get one off it. And then yeah, this was like only 35 FEs. This was probably I think 50, and then I crafted it. This for a lot of your other pieces of gear, you do want resistances in your implicit, just because it's you want to move away from having resistances on gear and get good suffixes like dexterity and percentage dexterity. So like of woods, you can get percentage dexterity and dexterity, and then you just get erosion resistance. Usually, hardest to get is erosion, so erosion is nice. This has maximum life and movement, life regen while moving. You're always moving. Elemental damage is kind of meh, but whatever. For rings, it's almost the same thing. You want resistance as prefixes, and implicit, sorry, and you want suffixes as dex and resistances, prefixes as lightning, flat lightning, and maximum life. I can always craft this away and get minus mana cost, but we'll see. Same thing with the other ring. They're pretty much almost the exact same, just different amount of elemental resistance on each. I've gotten capped res from all my resistances. Yeah. Okay, the last one on gear and what I've kind of really invested currency into. So I've invested currency into like really good claws. Um, Previously I was talking about having a sword because the sword gives you paralysis, but to get a sword with this DPS for both of them, so the DPS on both of them are pretty insane. But to get a sword with this DPS would cost me like 700, 800 FEs or something. So this claw was a 260 FE, and this was 150 FEs. So total is 400 FE for weapons, and then damage went up by like almost close to double, I think. Yeah. So each claw adds like 30% DPS. No, not double. Sorry, maybe 80% increase in DPS. So now let me run through the skills. Uh,
I can feel ice and fire
and yeah,
inside.
so I've actually moved away
Ready
from
to
melee
destroy
knockback. I think I've
all.
discussed this with some people on the comment section of the YouTube video, and they're kind of right. Melee knockback is not that strong, so I've kind of refined this to attack focus, harden, lightning piercing, high voltage, and electric overload. All of these are level 21 just because I can afford them. They're not like that expensive as well. Harden is just you won't find it. It's just too expensive, and if they ever drop on the market, someone else buys it. So I'm not, and I'm also not gonna pay like I'm not gonna pay 100 FEs for a 1% upgrade. You know, it's just not worth it. Okay, so for this bloodless recovery is amazing, and I'll show you why. Uh, you basically lose 30% of your current life, so you can tap it twice, and the second one will cost less than 30% max because you know it's your remaining life. It restores 470 life over 4 seconds. This is useless. You don't really need it. It's just nice to have, but it's not there for is you're not using this for that reason. Okay, the life regain is increased on the maximum while the skill is on cooldown. So and 21% additional life regain interval while the skill is on cooldown. So essentially you want the skill to be always on cooldown, because you get max life regain and then you get life regain intervals reduced. As you can tell with the auto other gloves, it's minus 20%. This is also now minus 20%. So you can imagine I'm actually bringing life regain intervals down to a really low value so that I'm gonna keep rocking it. All right. So I'm running this to berserk. Also, while skills are recovering, cooldown. I mean, I assume, yeah. Uh, you have attack speed, attack and no, attack critical strike chance, right? Instant restoration. you just want to go down cooldown immediately, right, or recovery immediately. So you want to spend it and use it as fast as possible. You don't really quite care about the restoration on the skill. You just want to make sure it's on cooldown. Armor Infusion, I actually have no idea what this is for, but I have no other nothing else to put on the slot. So this is cool. Whatever. I don't know whether it's useful or not. Bull's Rage, definitely, obviously, extended duration, mania, and cooldown reduction is exactly the same. Nothing has changed. The Bull's Rage, what you're looking for here is you're not looking for burst DPS. You're just looking for sustained DPS. So all this is just to keep uptime permanent. Briskwind, Painification, cooldown reduction, extended duration. I've actually stopped away from their other support because it's actually terrible. I forgot. I thought it meant it converts incoming physical to elemental. It's the other way around. You take your elemental damage as physical, and since I've got no armor, it's kind of doesn't make sense. Or I've got very low armor, it doesn't really make sense. So Pain Application gives me increased extra duration. It's almost as good as extended duration. So altogether, you have a permanent uptime on Briskwind, which means you're almost going to get the 80% move speed stack all the time, and then the evasion as well. So your evade chance is probably at 50% with this, and then you have like 80% extra move speed, which is extra damage, because this build scales with move speed. Move speed increases the activation speed of your spiral strikes because it is a movement skill. So if you increase your move speed by like 80%, you could probably increase the DPS by, I don't know, 40% I guess. Anyway, yep, let me go to Bloodthirst. Mass Effect, Bloodbath, and Mania. You're not going for any cooldown reductions and durations just because this refreshes itself. As long as you hit a lead or kill stuff, which you're going to do very often, you're hitting very fast and you kill very fast because your damage is good. So this is almost going to always be on permanent uptime. When the skill's active, you get attack speed and move speed, both obviously great for you. Mass Effect, Bloodbath, and Mania all increase effect, I think. Yeah, this is effect. This is also effect. And this is effect here. So you're just basically getting a shit ton of effect. You probably have double this amount, right? And that's just pure damage. Counter curse and hit. I've actually upgraded to precise because I can afford it. It's not that expensive though for me. I mean, my opinion is not that expensive, like 15 FEs or something. So the precise version gives you a reduced curse effect, less reduced curse effect, so you actually get more curse effect, right? So electrocute is still 20, 21 is like 40 FEs. I'm not gonna spend 40 FEs for like 1% upgrade. Abysmal hatred, it's to increase the curse effect, and then seal corrosion because you want to reserve life instead of mana, but you don't really have that much mana to spend. Then you have seal conversion for cast and critical strike as well. There's no precision for this because precision is actually garbage for this. I don't know why. Anyway, Blizzard 20. Yeah, seal conversion, mark, same, and blinding. So blinding is great because it is less damage taken, right? 20% to miss before being addressed. I think miss and evade are separate, so you're gonna have a 20% more EHP just with blind. And then cast a critical strike. You're gonna keep this permanently up because your blizzard hits very often. Yeah. And let's go back to reservations. So precise fearless, obviously expensive. This is 40 FEs, but it's kind of worth it because it gives you more attack speed, I think. Something. Increase attack speed. I don't know. I just felt that this was worth it, so I bought it. This is 21 too, so yeah, that's why it's expensive. Electric conversion as well. This was pretty cheap, but it gives you 4 lightning piercing, which I think is actually 4% more damage. It's actually quite very good for the price. Magical source is 12, and then swiftness for extra movement speed. Since I have the slots available, movement speed is nice. I explained how it scales with damage.
Oh, how I
All right, let's go to talents, and this is probably the one that most people ask for. And I'm gonna preface this, right? I don't want to tell you exactly what talents you should go for because what talents you should get is heavily dependent on what gear you have and what content you're trying to farm. If you're trying to farm like mapping at T7s, do you really need a lot of life and EHP of your trade talents? The answer is not really. You just can go pure damage, especially when you're just starting out. You don't have the damage available. You don't do like 100 million DPS. Uh, so you kind of want to get like, if you're already like 20, 30 mil, you want to push it to like 40, 50, you have to add damage nodes. But in this case here, I'm going to show you exactly what I have. And what I have is based around my optimized gear, right? So I'll just explain what I have right now. I'll explain some of the theory, not my theory, the concepts behind it and what you try to add and what is valuable. And then you go and figure it out yourself, right? I'll tell you what is like mandatory and what is optional. Okay, so let's go with Goddess and Hunting. You're always going to go for Perception if you're stacking Dexterity. That's if you are starting your deck stack. If you're not starting your deck stack and you're just starting out, Paralyze is better. Okay, so let's just clear that out of the way. So Rush, this is, you always go Rush. So because move speed is great, we explained this previously. Additional damage, it moves. So there's a more damage, it moves more than 5 meters. Recently, you're always going to move more than 5 meters because you're using a move skill for attacks. Alright. Then let's go to, I'll just cover Masteries first, because Masteries are easy to get out of the way. Conductive, yes, 5% lightning damage, hit as base shock damage, you're always going to go for this. Nothing else is better. Alright. And then this quick angle, which is damage dealt by minions and you against shock enemies, triggers lucky. You want to do lucky damage, obviously, because lucky damage is going to increase the damage significantly because lightning damage ranges are massive. Okay, let's go to Ranger, and you'll be going Fluke, which will give you critical strikes, have the lucky effect while having at least a 50 foul rating. You get 50 foul rating almost instantaneously because you hit so fast. Yeah, and nothing else is better. So, please. And then Impending. I honestly feel like none of the three are like significantly good. They're all kind of meh. This one's really meh. This one is just 30% more damage after standing on enemy for 1.25 seconds. But yeah, well, there's nothing else better, so you just go Impending. When it comes to order and what you want to get when you first start out, I would always suggest getting this one first, Paralyze, and then Rush. Then you get Blade Runner, Conductive, get Ranger, sorry, not Blade Runner, Ranger, Conductive, Blade Runner. Wait, what? I think I clicked wrong. Okay, so Fluke and Conductive. So you get Fluke and Conductive right after you get these two. And then the remaining like two you get. This is really dependent on your gear. I will not go into details about that. So let's talk about talents, which talents to get, what are good, what's not good. And yeah, let's just carry on. So damage, the damage was always nice, obviously, but you can start removing them once you get enough damage from other sources. Okay. I'll go into detail later. So I've gone damage here, I've gone maximum life. You'll find out that I've taken every maximum life node on my talent tree, and the reason being is that maximum life is very hard to get on gear. It only counts on prefixes, and so you want as much of it as possible. Percentage damage, you can get it anywhere. Get it on Pact, what's it called? Pact Spirits. You can get it, on the gear. So it's not really that crucial. So maximum life is massive, especially for me at this stage. Obviously, you're gonna go more damage like this if you're just starting out, because you really need more life. You really need 150k HP. Probably not. Yeah. Okay. So minor talent, attack and cast speed. You only go this if you have versatility. So let me explain to you again what versatility is. So the infinity belt has this mod called versatility. 100% of bonuses for or reduction to cast speed also apply to attack speed. So it allows you to double dip, right? Not really double dip, but these nodes have double effect for that reason. So you get 24% attack speed off this node, of these three nodes, and then you get like 16 attack speed off these three nodes, of this node, sorry. So that's the reason why this is really strong. You're only going to go for this if you have that particular belt. If not, just go for that damage. Percentage damage is great. Okay, that sounds cool. All right, let's move on. This Monotone always amazing, whether or not you are deck stacking. But yeah, since I'm deck stacking, I get the damage and I get the deck, so this is really nice. This is actually probably one of the best nodes that is a bit slept on. Maximum life is great, but also lightning res and maximum life is great. The reason why lightning res is actually pretty decent is because your suffixes are important for this build because you're deck stacking. Obviously, if you're not deck stacking, lightning res is like, it's extra res is like not crucial for you. But for me, like 16% lightning res means I can like drop one suffix and get dex or something else that gives a lot of damage. Go here, attack speed. That critical strike rating is obviously great. 80%, 40% per point is pretty nice. And this 8% additional attack speed on recent critical strike. You're gonna already attack really fast. I'll show you later how much my attack speed is without bonuses, but because this scales with more attack speed, so like you're gonna attack really fast, and then every time you crit because of your fast attack speed, you're gonna get even more attack speed, right? So this is a win more kind of node, and definitely worth 1 point. All right, let's go to Blade Runner. I've gone lightning damage. Obviously, percentage damage is better than percentage lightning damage, but since most of your damage is lightning anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So maximum life. You notice I'm going like all my life nodes, right? So this is, yeah. Crit strike chance you will need. Why? Because you're gonna skill crits, right? Everything is crit. Crit strike rating and crit strike damage, obviously. Maximum life. You notice I'm going life and the maximum life and lightning res again. Yeah. So that's nice. Okay, if you see here, I'm going life regain. This is only because I'm pushing T8s and I want some recovery and I'm doing bosses and I don't want to die. So 3% life regain is nice. It's kind of it's alright. But the reason why I'm adding this is for this. So minus 25%. As you recall, I already have 40%, right? 20% from gloves, 20% from the Blotter's skill. So this is 20, 20, 25. That's 65% additional life regain interval. So you cut your life regain from 0.5 seconds to 30%. So that's 1.4, 1.33, I think. 1.33. So every I don't know, you basically regain every second, 10 times every, oh, not 8, 6 times, every, 7, 8 times every second, something like that. I'll show you another thing that will basically boost this as well. So we'll get to that in time. Then this as well. The base 15 shock damage is garbage. It's terrible, but what you're going, and new shock is nice as well. Survivability, but what you're actually going for is this shock one more time. You know, this is pretty good. I'll have to see if actually I might just, we'll see if I can remove this and then get something else. But I'm pretty sure this is like well worth its points. I'll let you know if I update this. This is actually pretty nice as well. 3 to 60 added lightning damage is pretty substantial. So yeah. Or lightning piercing for critical strikes, also substantial, good damage. I've tested this. This is like worth getting. 0.5 dexterity. You obviously want more dexterity. Dexterity is great. And this is 1% lightning damage per 50 dexterity, and I have about 1000 dexterity, so this is 20% lightning damage for 1 point. That's okay. It's not too bad. I could reallocate this to something else, but I don't think there's anything better at the moment. Okay, so 12% attack speed. It's kind of meh, but what you're looking for is this. Gain 1 stack of Agility Blessing per 8 attacks. Trust me, I will show you later. You do more than 8 attacks per like maybe per second. Anyway, so Agility Blessing gives you essentially more attack speed and cast speed, right? So 6, and basically more damage. So attack speed, cast speed, and move speed, everything you need, right? Everything you're scaling off. So Agility Blessing is great, and that's why you get this. Anyway, let's go to Ranger. Critical strike rating, obviously important. Critical strike rating, also important. Maximum life, obviously this is good for me, but you may not want to use it. You can actually go to the damage one, which is this. Critical strike damage. Attack speed and cast speed, as I said, double. You're getting both double effect, so there's 24%. Getting movement speed as well. Good stuff. And you get 16% attack speed from this. Okay, skill area. This is quality of life. This doesn't give you much damage, but this quality of life for mapping. If you actually drop this, these two nodes, you feel like your mapping is a lot, not only slower, but like when you dash through stuff, you don't have, some stragglers just don't die. So I would suggest like getting this just for quality of life. Yeah. So maximum life again. Okay, alright. So maximum life regain, obviously nice, and minus 10% life regain interval on recent critical strike. Obviously, you are going to critical strike a lot. And if you look at, so what we had was 65%. This brings it up to 75. So 1/4. So 1.25 seconds, right? So every 1.25 seconds, you're gonna life regain. Think about it. And the life regain is doubled, and the life regain is maxed. You're not gonna die unless you get one shot. So yeah, that's really strong. Minor talent. The armor here is useless, right? I mean, I only have one armor slot and it's like really low. So I mean, it does help a bit, but it's kind of meh. The reason why I'm doing this is that 15% elemental resistance is 15% to all elemental resistance. This is 45% all res. That is one suffix slot, right? That is one suffix slot. So that's right. It's kind of worth it. It's almost like 50 decks. So think about it that way. And then this gives you 8% all res. So this is times 3, that's 24% lightning res, elemental res. That's pretty massive. Armor is great as well. And then the minus 10% additional damage taken when there are enemies in proximity. You're always going to have enemies in proximity because you're dashing right next to them. And this is 10% less damage. So this is insane EHP. So yeah, to get that. Minor talent, 60% critical strike rating, obviously good. Critical strike damage, obviously good. Critical strike can eliminate enemies under 8% life. This is 8% more damage because you're gonna cull at 8%. Yeah, I think if you play PoE, you understand what I'm talking about. Melee damage, kind of okay. 20% critical strike per nearby enemy. If it's a boss, you only get 20% more. And maps, this obviously goes up way more. Gain fervor when there are enemies nearby. So people ask me, how do you get fervor? Right? Because like, how do you get fervor to get fluke? The answer is you're getting fervor from this. Obviously, that means you maybe don't need fluke. Yeah, sure, you don't need fluke. You go for something else, like maybe you max out Blade Runner first. Then only when you get like level 75 plus, and then you can get like fluke and uh the level the 24 medium talent. Okay, then you go for fluke, yeah. So yeah, that's it. All right, so I'm gonna go and briefly explain maybe a bit of the weapons and why I've moved away from swords. One, these weapons are insane for the price I paid for them. Except this critical strike damage. I don't think I want to ever roll this 40% or 40 FEs per try. You know, kind of. Eh. Anyway, um, maybe not 40 FEs per try because yeah, it's about 40 FEs per try. Yeah. This one's slightly worse than the other one, because it has like the same modifier, the elevated, I would say elevated mod for added lightning elemental dash per 8 dexterity. So this is really, really good. That's the only reason why I've gone for these two. But the other reason is because let me show you how attack speed scales. So this is 3.39 attack speed base, and this is 2.25. What Spiral Strike does is that it takes your main hand attack speed, and then it adds a percentage, I think, of your offhand attack speed to your main hand attack speed and counts it as both for Static Strike. So let me show you. You notice that both attack speeds are different, right? But let's go to damage here. So my main attack speed at 16, right, is the same as my offhand attack speed. What this means is that it's taking. So if I move the offhand to the main hand, this will actually drop because the offhand attack speed is actually lower. So you always want a faster attacking weapon on your main hand, right? And at the same time, you also want your main hand to have like the best amount of flatlining damage because that is probably, I think that's how it scales. Anyway, wait, maybe not. Just ignore me. All right, so main hand attack speed. So the way the attack speed works for this is you always want your faster attack speed weapon in your main hand, and then you want you want a still a decently fast attack speed weapon on your offhand, right? So I have 16 attacks per second, right? So that means if I dash through this, I should hit mostly 16 times. I would say that full animation gets all these ridiculous amount of hits. Obviously, there's probably some amount of hits that just get missed because I dash through, and it doesn't. Some of the animation doesn't cover the mob when it's being hit. So if there's a large hitbox, probably I do probably full 13. Yeah, but full 16, sorry. But yeah, this is insane amount of attack speed. Right, I don't think any other class or no any other character attacks this fast. Let's go to survivability. You see the critical strike, you're like, yeah, that's a little low. 30% is a bit low. The truth is 30% is, when you have lucky, this goes up to 65. When you have fervor, this goes up to like 85 or almost close to 90%. Like with all the buffs up, you should have like 90% crit strike chance. Yeah, so anyway. Let's go to survivability. Maximum life is at 4.98. You're reserving about 500, so that's 4.4. You have insane block from dual wielding. Armor's at 14 because of that armor talents, as well as this particular glove. This glove already gives you like base 9k armor, which is nice. Alright, so the amount of physical damage reduction is like 22%, not too bad. I'll show you why Gemma is probably the best for this. So I've changed my mind. I think Gemma's the best for this. I don't think Berserker's better. Berserker's better for just raw damage output, but in terms of like overall, I think Gemma's better. I'll show you again later. Anyway, evasion's at 20. With Brisk Wind, this goes up probably to 30, I think, or 28, up to 27 to 30. And then the evasion reference chance or evasion chance goes up to 50%. So you evade half the time. You have 25% attack spell block. And now let's go to life life regen. A second is pretty garbage. What's this? Life regeneration is like 69, and mana regeneration is like 194. Mana regeneration is mostly to sustain your cost of skills. Okay, this is the fun part. A life regain is 14%, so 14% of missing life on hit, which is it's max. So you probably get max of your life, so 14%. You get it all the time because of Bloodthirst, and then you double it. So you're basically getting 14% times 2 is 28% of your total life every 7 times every second. You can't die. There's no way you can die. There's no way you can die, I think, with this setup. As long as you don't get one shot, there's no way you're gonna die. So, yeah, that is life regain. And yeah, move speed is. I mean, this is kind of meh. The skill area increase talents. So move speed obviously goes up with Brisbane procs, and everything else proc. But yeah. Anyway, this is all there is to it. What's next? For upgrades, I don't know. Probably better Infinity. So this is kind of nice. It's like 3 mods in one. The life regen is meh, and the mana regeneration is like meh as well. So I'll probably be looking for one that's better than this. Obviously for more damage, maybe even more survivability, who knows. And yeah, that's pretty much all I've squeezed out of this build. Okay, let's go. Ooh, did I say something? I sold a lot of things. Cool. Anyway. Alright, let's go through Pact Spirits, because I think I haven't covered this. Obviously this is whatever you get. Alright, I'm telling you like straight up, I'm not using any legendaries, because I haven't gotten any good ones. And you don't really need legendaries for this to work well. So I'm using Idling Weasel for, I mean, it's just all damage really. Just look at this, 12% damage, 12%, 12%, pen, and then yeah, everything I'm getting here is damage. You want this because this is 9% damage reduction overall. Okay, that's all. I gotta take care of my baby. She's crying. Hope you enjoy yourself. uh, look forward to uploading a TA clear on bosses. And yeah, peace. Oh yeah, let's just see how fast this moves, eh? Oh yes, one last thing. So, a couple of you have been asking me why don't I do the double spiral strike mechanic that Milky has been doing for his build. Um, so one thing, it doesn't work for me, and I'm guessing it doesn't work for me because when you have double spiral strike, you animation cancel the first spiral strike, and I think it cuts your DPS if your attack speed is just too high. So like if you're talking about Milky's attack speed, it's probably not 16, right? Because it's not 16, he's not going to have missed attacks, as much missed attacks. So spamming that Spiral Strike, like two of them, one makes up for probably a lack of movement speed. He probably doesn't have good movement speed total. So I think for like this character, and all the buffs up, you're like 100% movement speed or something like that. So he doesn't have high movement speed and he doesn't have high attack speed. So if you have high movement speed and high attack speed, you don't need to use this double Spiral Strike mechanic to like even travel fast across maps or do damage, right? The second thing I think, which might be the case, is I think the way wilt is being applied is a lot different than the way shocks are being applied. So maybe there's some bug with wilt, I don't know. That you can apply it even without doing a direct hit. Like you can animation cancel and then you still apply max wilts. But I don't know. I haven't played this with wilt, so I can't really like elaborate on it. But I'm just trying to say that like for your build, like with this build, you're not gonna run double spiral strike. It just does not work for you. Maybe it works for you if your attack speed is low and you haven't started scaling decks or haven't gotten an infinity belt. But my guess is that that is probably not the case, and you're just better off putting like another skill that gives you buffs. Alright, so yeah, peace. I'm gonna stop this video and I hope you have a good day.